again? Oh yeah. Oh, there we go. I need my kids to help me like work all the devices. They're like, Mom, volume's just down. Figure it out.
Come on, Mom.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
Living a dream or what?
Living the dream, yeah. Clearly not, what are we on, week 1?
Yeah, what is this, week 10 or 11? I don't know. Yeah.
Crazy.
Is your work world changed? Obviously you're at home, but has your work itself changed or still the same?
Yeah, I would say accelerated some areas. And the one thing is longer hours because you're not commuting, which is sad. But I mean,
oh goodness, yeah.
But on the no, for the most part, it stayed the same because I support the food industry. So the good news is
right.
Lucky right now. We're still able to, like keep at it. But yeah, we're relatively lucky, compared to a lot of different folks. So
yeah.
Are you, based on the announcement yesterday, are you back at it next week?
Yeah, I'm gonna go back in next week. I'm still going to keep some patients on like virtual care. And I have a one person room anyways. Hey, Sarah. So it's a little bit easier for me. Like, other than wearing a mask, I was doing everything else beforehand. Do you know what I mean? So I mean, yeah, like there'll be an extra screening tool that'll go out the day of people's appointments to make sure everything's good that way. And when patients come in, I'll have them do hand hygiene before and after, but people were doing that. We were doing that anyways, right? For the most part. So I feel pretty confident, but it might be weird working in a mask all day. That might be a bit strange.
Something to get used to for sure.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And again, I'm not, a lot of therapists move between patients and we'll see 3 or 4 patients an hour and stuff. And I've never done that. So, it should be okay. I'm looking forward to it. I think my family's looking forward to it more. That I will be out of the house. I'm not bothering them. They'll probably have a party. So we'll see. Still good. We're moving in the right direction. Yeah. They're used to being at home, the 3 of them, during the summer anyways. So with the hot weather and with them home, it's kind of like, why are you here? Off you go.
You're killing their party.
I am. I'm killing their rhythm. So, but I think this might be our last Thursday yoga, just with the weather getting nice. We'll still do the Tuesday mornings, I think, for now anyways. And then I take it the other classes we did are all accessible on YouTube anyway, so if you want anything that way. So why don't we start in Shavasana and we'll have a really nice practice. Is there anything you guys want to address tonight more specifically?
I mean, I always like some good hip stuff.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Anything, Laura, that you'd want to address tonight? I think Laura's frozen. There we go. All right, Shavasana. Just take a nice big breath in through your nose and a long exhale, breath out through the mouth. And again, a deep inhale through your nose. And a full exhale through the mouth. And we'll just spend the next few moments checked into our breath, allowing a bit more stillness, and bringing your awareness back to the breath as the wandering thoughts come. And maybe just notice the nature of those wandering thoughts, of the thoughts that kind of interrupt your focus on the breath. And no judgment, no need to analyze them per se, but maybe consider the nature of them. And it just helps you with more awareness, more mindfulness, whether it's a stressful thought, I should be thought, a worry thought, and just kind of notice and name, and then let it go and come back to your breath. As you're breathing in, expand through the belly, the side body, the back body, moving up into the rib cage, and then reversing that as you exhale. Breathing into any spots, places in the body that need more space. And exhaling softness where you need it. Softening through the brow, the jaw, the back of the neck, letting the head rest a little easier into your mat. Relaxing across the shoulders, letting the collarbones broaden, letting the shoulders fall back a little bit more. Letting your rib cage relax into the body, your back body become heavier. Heaviness through the pelvis, the hips, and relax through the legs. Again, just noticing, just noticing. Bringing your awareness back to your breath. Observing thoughts, but let them go. And on your next inhale, let's sweep your arms up over your head. Interlace your fingers and flip your palms to the back of the room. And just take several nice deep breaths here as you lengthen through the side body. I like to alternatively reach away with one heel and then the other. Creating length through the body, taking big breaths. And again, just noticing. Relax the arms down by your side body, and let's inhale and hug those knees in towards the chest. And we'll just gently rock and roll, finding that nice meeting of the middle, not pulling the knees in too tight, but pulling them in just enough. And then just relaxing from side to side. Just noticing how the lower back feels, the pelvis in through the hips, softening through the groin, and let your shoulders relax away from your ears. Let's keep the knees pulling in towards the chest, but take the knees wide. The knees are nice and wide, and I'm still rocking and rolling from side to side. But the knees are wide, maybe a little bit of pulling, lengthening through the inner thighs, the adductor muscles. You can draw the knees in a little closer if you want, or let them relax away. And then just come back to center. Take a nice inhale, and as you exhale, hug those knees in a little bit closer. And as you take another inhale, let's keep the left knee and let's stretch that right leg long. So we'll inhale, hugging left knee to chest. Exhale, softening the knee in. Keep that right leg long, connected to the floor. Nice big inhales, nice big exhales. Find the nice path of that left knee toward your chest. Shouldn't be too pinchy, so you can always bring it a little more lateral, a little more to the left if it is. Letting your lower back relax into the mat as well. Tailbone long. Let's inhale the right knee to meet the left. Give them a nice squeeze and exhale that left leg long. Switching sides here, really anchor that left leg down towards the mat. Flex the foot, reach out through the heel like you're standing on it. Take a big inhale, and as you exhale, soften that right knee towards the chest. Lots of good breathing. And just finding the edge of moving into any stiffness or restriction, but not forcing it, but moving into it. Inhale, left knee back up to chest, both knees into chest, little squeeze. And then exhale, place your feet down on the mat, knees bent. Bring your feet as wide as the yoga mat. Bring your hands to a T, palms up towards the ceiling. Make sure your shoulders are away from your ears. And then let's just windshield wiper the legs from side to side. And again, just mindfully moving, slowly and with control. And again, still reaching to find the threshold of the movement. And being connected to where the movement happens. So I'm feeling this movement at the hip joint itself, and then a little bit through the pelvis and the lower back. My knees follow through the hips, bringing those knees from side to side. The next time the knees come to the right, let's stay here in that bent knee twist. Adjust your shoulders if you need to. We want the chest facing the ceiling. Think about lengthening through the left side body and let the left rib cage relax into the chest. I'm actively pulling the left knee down towards the mat. Feet are flexed. Either staying here or you can tack your right ankle on top of the left thigh. Deepening that twist as well as the rotation and mobility of the left hip. So the lower body's twisting right, the upper body maintains itself neutral, chest facing the ceiling. Breathing into that. On your next inhale, let's come back up through center. Adjust the hips, straighten out on the mat, take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, knees to left. Let's stay here just as you need. Actively pulling that right knee down towards the mat, but lengthening through the spine. So watching that the spine doesn't arch too much to find the movement. We want that movement at the hip. So reach the tailbone long, draw the ribs into the body, and take too much curve out of the lower back. Either staying here, or if you want to tack that left ankle on the outside of the right thigh, you can move into a little bit of a deeper twist that way. Inhaling back through center. Let's bring the feet hip width apart, knees are still bent. Bring the arms back down to side body, palms down towards the mat. Inhale to relax, exhale to squeeze the glutes, lift the hips up towards the ceiling. Open and lengthen across the hips, reaching the knees away from you, but still tightly connected to the glutes. Relaxing through the lower back, pressing down into your feet. Exhale, softly lower down. Crossing that right ankle over your left thigh, figure four. Keep the hips and the pelvis aligned, so just check in with the hands on the front of the hips here. You don't want to be rolled over towards the left, so anchor the left side down, flex the right foot, reach the knee away. Open up that right hip, either staying here or reaching behind the left thigh and gently drawing that thigh towards you. Try and keep the back of the head, the neck resting on the mat, spine long. You can gently kind of nudge with your right elbow to open up that right hip. Let your left knee relax. Breathing into the outside of that right hip, the other thigh. And again, just watch, shoulders are relaxed, and you can breathe with this stretch. Good, and then we'll just straighten that left knee, flex your left foot, so straighten that knee towards the ceiling, and maybe slide that right ankle down the thigh again, and just increase that stretch. So left leg is straight, reaching towards the ceiling, tailbone is still on the mat, and I've kind of hugged that right ankle down the thigh and found a bit more mobility of that right hip. Just maintaining and breathing there. So it's a lot more active. And exhaling that foot down. reconnect on your mat. And we'll just cross that left ankle over the right. Flex your left foot. And again, just square up through your hips and your pelvis. And find that that left knee reaches away. Find that first, and either stand there or reaching behind your right knee, right thigh, and drawing that towards you. Let the back of your head rest down on the mat again. And keep the back of that neck long. You can nudge that left elbow in the left inner thigh and just open up that hip as best you can. Let your right knee relax and just make sure you're breathing. Notice how this side compares to the other. We're often a little more tight, a little more wound up on one side, and that's okay. Just breathe into it. Keeping anchored through both sides of the pelvis, both hips connected. And then let's straighten that right leg long. Flex your right foot and maybe just use your hands to slide that left foot down the thigh a little bit more. And find a little bit of a different variation on that length. Let's unwind, relax the right knee, uncross the ankle, place the feet back down on the mat, hip width apart, and just gently windshield wiper those knees from side to side once more. Just kind of notice what you notice in terms of your hips now. Good. Before we start to move a little bit more actively, let's do our bound angle pose, or Supta Baddha Konasana. Bring the soles of the feet together into that bound angle pose. And again, find that nice sweet spot of heels not too close, not too far. You can bring your arms up into a cactus position if that feels good. And then just see if you can soften your lower back, soften the inner thighs into the mat. Full inhales right from the belly, the side body, the back. And really long, softening exhales. And just gently bring those knees back up through center. And give the knees a hug into the chest once more. Rock and roll and just kind of notice what you notice. Awesome. We're going to roll up into sitting and move into our tabletop. Just take your time. So find that nice tabletop position and just kind of notice what you notice there. Find neutral as best you can. And we'll move into our cat-cow, and then we'll do a couple variations on our hands and knees. So we'll take a big inhale and just arch the spine, lift the gaze, lift the chest, lift the tailbone, and round the spine. Hang the head, reach between the middle the shoulder blades in the middle back and tuck the tail. Inhale, shoulders down, lift the gaze, the chest, the tailbone. And exhale, soften and round. One more time, inhale and arch, pull those shoulder blades down and opposite, round. Good. And then just relax in your neutral spine again. This time we're going to find a little bit of side body movement. So I'm going to ask you to side bend your right. So I'm bringing my right hip towards my right shoulder and then come back to center and side bend. Bring your left hip towards left shoulder. So it happens kind of between your lower rib cage and your hip bone, your pelvic bone. So just swaying the hips, so to speak, from side to side, but really think of almost shortening and bringing the hip towards the shoulder. And just kind of noticing. I'm doing this in neutral, so we're not rounded, we're not arched as best you can. Do one more to each side. And then rest there for a sec. And then let's do that in rounding. So you're going to round the lower spine, and then you're going to try and side bend. So tip the pelvis, the hips to one side, and tip them to the other. So I'm trying to round through the lower back. I've got my tailbone tucked under. I'm connected to the pelvic floor and front core. And then I'm just side bending and tipping the pelvis from side to side. Good. Come back to neutral. And then we'll just do one more version in extension. So you're going to arch the spine and then side bend. And again, if this doesn't feel comfortable, you can go into your regular cat-cow. You can come into a child's pose. We'll take child's pose in a moment. So my back is arched. My spine is extended. And I'm just swinging the tail from side to side. And just kind of noticing. And then back to neutral. And let's take the knees nice and wide and the feet together, and we'll come back down into that child's pose. So lots of length to the lower spine now. Let your tailbone get heavy. Arms can be at reach, or you can take a pillow with your hands under your forehead, but just relax back into that child's pose. If you want to sway a little from side to side, that might feel nice. Just find that nice rounded position. Breathing deeply into the lower back. And softening on the exhale. In our child's pose still, let's walk our hands towards the right, make that nice big C curve, opening and lengthening through the left side body. And sometimes I even like to tack my left hand on top of my right, intertwine my fingers, and then really reach from fingertip to hip bone, or sit bone even. So breathe into length of that side body. One more full breath here. Full breath to relax. On your next inhale, walk through center. And then we'll walk the hands to the left. Again, you can take the right hand on top of the left, intertwine the fingers, relax the forehead down between the arms, and reach between sit bones to fingertips. Lots of length. We'll inhale back through center. Reset yourself on your mat. And let's just arrange to come up into our down dog. So spread the fingers wide, root down into your index finger and your thumb, tuck your toes, and you can inhale back up to your down dog. So hips reach towards the ceiling, knees can be bent, heels can be lifted. Really anchor into the index finger and the thumb, hug the biceps towards your ears, so turning out at the shoulders, and then reach your chest towards your thighs to find that triangle or inverted downward dog position. You can pedal your feet by the length of the back of the leg, but again, still long straight spine and reaching tailbone to ceiling. Beautiful. We'll drop back down to our knees. And then let's come up into tall kneeling. Put something under your knees if that's uncomfortable. But in tall kneeling, you can tuck your toes for a bit more stability if you want. Definitely tuck your pelvis underneath as best you can. Relax your shoulders down, away from your ears. Let's take your hands up. Inhale. Hands connected here. And then just a tiny little back bend. So I'm tucking my tailbone underneath, even squeeze the glutes a little bit. Reach the fingertips towards the ceiling and think about lifting the chest as you arch back. Nice deep breath in. And then exhale, relax down. Good. So in order to make that not hingy through your lower back or too much on your belly, Sarah, just think, squeeze the glutes, tuck the bum under, and then think of the back bend coming from above. So we'll try that one more time. So line everything up, shoulders down. We'll inhale, take the arms up. Connect palm to palm. Reach fingertips towards ceiling. Squeeze your bum, tuck under. And then start to bend backwards from the upper spine. I don't even get a lot of lower spine extensions, mostly the upper. And I'm squeezing those glutes. And then exhale, soften down. Let's take that left leg out to the side and we'll connect that outside of the pinky foot to the floor as best you can. And then we want to level off the pelvis as well and tuck it underneath. So just watch that you're not kind of overarched. That might be a nice stretch in that inner thigh just here. But if you feel comfortable, start to reach that left hand down the leg. Inhale, lift that right arm up. And this is called the gate latch pose. So you want length of the whole right side body and a nice side bend of the left side body. And that will further increase that stretch there. If there's any strain on the inside of the knee, just gently bend the knee. And just see if you can breathe here. So I'm reaching fingertips towards ceiling, tucking my bum underneath, and thinking of that length all through that right side body. And then we'll inhale back down. And then we'll take the right hand to the floor and lift that left leg up off the floor. And you'll feel that in your glutes. Take a nice breath here and hold. And then relax down. Good. Let's come to that other side. So we'll take that other leg long. Try and connect the pinky side of the foot to the floor. Tuck the bum underneath and level off the pelvis as best you can. If it's too much on the knee, bend the knee. Otherwise, you can really reach into the length of the inner thigh hamstring. We'll inhale the arms up. And we'll trace that right arm down, that right thigh as best we can, and find a side bend. Opening up through that left side body. So still tuck your bum underneath. And think reaching out the fingertips towards the ceiling for length, and then the side bend. Breathing there. One more inhale. And then exhale, take that right hand or left hand, sorry, down towards the floor. And lift that right leg up. Good. Let's bring that down, come back. Did anyone get a cramp? Sometimes I get a cramp there. Okay, roll the shoulders a little bit. Good. Let's come back down into tabletop. And we'll tuck the toes, root through the hands, come up into downward dog. And let's just take several breaths here again. Definitely be dynamic in your downward dog if that feels good. Good. Let's inhale that right leg towards the ceiling. And let's exhale that right leg towards the right foot. Or sorry, right hand. So we're in a long lunge here. Now we'll drop the left knee down, untuck the left toes, and just again, take a couple more breaths here. I'm in that nice long lunge position. See if I can tuck that knee in front so I'm not too far out to the side. And just think of drawing that right hip back. So I'm lining up as best I can. Let's inhale, take those arms up towards the ceiling into your crescent lunge with the knee down, low crescent lunge. Think of lengthening through that front left hip. But watch that you're not too arched through your lower back. Nice full breath here. Let's exhale, hands down to mat. We'll anchor your left hand to the mat. Inhale, rotate right hand to ceiling. Let that right hand come down to the mat on the inside of the right foot. And let's inhale, left hand to ceiling. That's a little trickier. So you got to hug that right knee into your right shoulder and find as much twist as you have here. Let's exhale down. Take your right hand on the outside of that right foot, tuck the back left toes, and you can come up into your down dog or your child's pose. And just reconnect on your mat there. So whether in child's pose or down dog, several easy breaths. Finding length. And then we'll do the other side. So we'll inhale, left leg to ceiling. Inhale, or exhale, sorry, left foot to left hand. Find your long lunge, and then drop the right knee. Untuck the right toes. And again, just take a breath to find that alignment. I think of tucking the left hip behind me, drawing the shoulders away from my ears. Making sure my back foot isn't kind of sickled in and I'm not collapsed down. I've got some integrity of the back leg. We'll inhale, take those arms up towards the ceiling, low crescent lunge. Shoulders away from your ears, reaching fingertips towards the ceiling. Exhaling, hands down to mat. We'll root the right hand down. Inhale, Lift that left hand to ceiling in your twist. Really think collarbones broad, fingertips to ceiling. The hand doesn't have to be behind the body. Think of more opening up through the chest. Exhale, soften that left hand down. Root the left hand into the mat. Hug your left knee into your left shoulder and rotate here. Again, a little trickier. So work with what your body is working with. One more inhale. And exhale down. Let's all come into our child's pose here now. And let's just take a few easy breaths. Soften through the body. Give it a chance to reconnect without effort. And again, just noticing what you notice. Noticing how the hips felt, the pelvis, the twists. And just reconnecting there. Using child's pose as an opportunity to really breathe into your back body. Creating space there. Softening through the groin. Wide through the sits bones. Lots of space. On your next inhale, let's come up into our tabletop. We'll make our way back up to our down dog. So take your time with that. Find your down dog, and then we will move into pigeon tonight. Sarah, if it's more comfortable for you, you can certainly do sleeping pigeon on your back. Laura too, but let's connect into down dog once more. Take a couple breaths here. Find nice length of the spine. Find length of the back body all through the hamstrings. And we'll inhale the right leg towards the ceiling and exhale, sweep it through right knee towards right hand. Okay, so if you're okay in pigeon, I always find pigeon is so lovely but can be so not. So as long as the knee is outside of the ankle, find where it works. Really snuggle your left leg backwards, so find lots of length through the back leg. Relax through the shoulders and either staying here or moving down towards your forearms or maybe even down forehead to hands. And just important within your pigeon to both find a little bit of integrity through the pelvis. So I have a little bit of softening or soft connection rather of drawing up and into the pelvic floor and length in the spine and the tailbone. And then as I exhale, I can just move into that position a little more. But find something that's kind of a balance between the two. And see if you can breathe into that. And certainly if there's anything that doesn't feel wonderful there, move towards your child's pose or on your back, finding that sleeping pigeon. Stay with the challenge of the pose. Redirecting wandering thoughts to your breath. And again, just noticing. Find as much symmetry as you can in the pelvis and the hips. Connection through both parts of the front there. Take one more deep breath in. And one long exhale out. And then you can walk yourself back up to your hands and gently make your way back up to your down dog. And just really be gentle with that transition. And pedal out your feet. Find more connection there. And then on your next inhale, let's lift left leg to ceiling, sweeping it through left knee to left hand. Wiggle that right leg back. And again, I usually think of that front leg, of spinning that pelvis back and trying to really bring that left pelvis forward. And then just that little bit of pulling up on the front pelvic floor, right behind the pubic bone, and lengthening the tailbone. So either staying here in a little bit more active pigeon, or you can gently make your way down. But the idea is here is your hips and your pelvis is moving in opposite directions. So that's why it's a challenging pose. And we want to meet them both halfway. So we want length to the back leg. And then we want that flexion, or the opposite with the turning out of the front leg. So that's why to be gentle and with a little bit of integrity into the pose. Because otherwise it's like you're wringing out a dishcloth, and the dishcloth is your pelvis. So gently, gently into that. Staying with the pose, staying with your breath. And then let's inhale, walking back up and tucking the back toes very mindfully, making your way up into your down dog. Good. Let's walk our feet to meet our hands. A gentle forward fold, so soften through the knees, relax through the head, and then widen your feet, turn your toes out if you want, and just drop into that nice deep squat, that Malasana. Awesome. Use your shoulders on the inside of the thighs and really reach the knees wide, and just find some movement into the pelvis. Relax your sit bones. Think of broadening through the perineum there. And then let's gently sit down on our bum. And we'll bring the soles of the feet together. And just gently hugging into that down angle pose. And maybe just gently butterflying the knees. Just noticing what you notice there. And relaxing. We'll do one more seated pose before lying. So we'll bring ourselves into a wide straddle type seated position. Certainly bend your knees if that's more comfortable, or you can grab a cushion. And I got a kink on the outside of my hip. There we go. And just sitting tall here first. And either staying here or gently hinging at the hips, walking the hands forward, still active through the legs, so my feet are flexed, and maybe finding a gentle fold here. So again, sit bones are still rooted into the mat. Upper spine, middle spine's rounded, but this lower spine, the lower back's fairly long, fairly neutral. So I'm hinging or spilling out from the hips. And just taking a couple of easy breaths there. And walking hands up. We'll gently hug the knees in. Bend the feet. Let's place the feet on the mat. Hands on top of the thighs, or top of the shins rather. We'll just gently roll ourselves back onto the mat. Once you're there, you can hug those knees in towards the chest and a little bit of rock and roll. Notice what you notice there. And then moving into just our traditional happy baby. So weave your arms on the inside of the thighs, grab the outside of the feet. Try and keep the tailbone and the spine connected to the mat. So you almost need to reach your tailbone down. And then you can straighten the knees a little as you pull the thighs towards the side body, but reach the heels towards the ceiling. And then add your rock and roll. You can bring the legs a little wider, a little closer. Sometimes straightening alternate knees as you move from side to side. But again, see if you can prevent that tailbone from rocking up. Best you can. And again, just noticing. Good, back through center. And then let's bring those knees, hug them back in towards the chest. Give them a good squeeze. And then let's exhale the knees down towards the right. So knees are together, hips are bent to 90 degrees. Knees are bent to 90 degrees. I'm stacking my knees as best I can, arms to T, palms to ceiling. And let's just breathe into this twist. And you can always let the legs straighten a little bit more if that's too intense. But I'm reaching the top knee forward to stay stacked with the bottom knee. But at the same time, then I have to pull that left pelvis and lower spine back. So again, keeping the knees stacked, but then unwinding. Let's inhale, pull those knees up through center, adjust on your mat, exhale, knees to left. Stacking knees as best you can, rolling that right shoulder back down to the mat. Lots of length through the body. Right knee reaches forward, but then spine, pelvis, shoulder pulls back. And we'll gently draw the knees back up through center. Give them a hug in towards the chest. Notice what you notice. And then you can gently And kindly make your way down into your comfortable Shavasana. Knees can be bent over a pillow, bolster, legs can be straight. So just allow yourself to find a position of stillness and comfort that we can spend the next few moments reconnecting to your movement of breath and stillness of body, quietness of thoughts. And now deepening your breath, maybe wiggling fingers, wiggling toes, bringing some movement and awareness back into the body. And in your own time, just making your way over onto your side, taking a moment there, and eventually making your way up into your cross-legged seated position, your Sukhasana. And let's take our hands to heart center. Taking a full inhale, a full exhale, bowing the head. From my light to yours, namaste.
Thanks, Jen. That was awesome.
Ladies, little hipsy, Sarah.
Yeah, definitely.
Little hips. How do you guys find pigeon? Do you guys find that that's a good thing for